How do I /29 tell my girlfriend /29 that I am not ready to propose until she figures her life out? Background: my girlfriend Macie has been spending the last 11 years 1. Looking for a job that she likes and selecting 1, 2. Going to school for this job and graduating 3. Working a year or so and deciding that she doesn't like the job anymore and quitting. Then going back to step 1 so far. Macie's tried 2 different jobs. She started pre-med but couldn't get the grades in her first semester of school and changed to nursing. Macie graduated from nursing and did that for a year and ended up quitting because working with sick and dying people was making her depressed, and working evenings caused issues with her ex. After nursing, she changed into education and wanted to be a teacher. Macie and I met during her last year of school and have been together even since the last 3 years. Macie has been a teacher for the last 2 years. The first year she wasn't too pleased with her boss and hated that her time at the school only lasted a year and had to find another job. Apparently new teachers usually go at the end of the year until they get a permanent position once they have enough senior. Last year she didn't like teaching remotely, and this year doesn't feel safe teaching when masks/PR. She recently told me she is strongly considering quitting her job and switching over to another career. I fully support her doing this. We've been talking and seeing what kind of jobs interest her and research the potential programs she might want to do. I don't want Macie to work in a job she hates and dread going to work every day. Now Macie has been heavily hinting she wants to get married soon. Like every time we pass by a jewelry store, she would want to go look at engagement rings and point out the ones she liked, or like if we pass by a park. She would say stuff like, wouldn't an outdoor wedding be nice? I know that she'll be asking me, when will we get married soon? I love Macie, but I don't want to get married until she figures out what she wants to do and gets a stable career. My reasoning behind this is I don't know how many more degrees/certificates she needs before she finds a stable career. I do opt for money, but if she goes back to school, I will be the sole breadwinner. I don't have enough money to pay for rent. We currently live apart, and I live in a small studio. If Macie and I move in together, we would need to move into a bigger place. Utilities, food, especially for 2 people, insurance, etc. Macie can borrow money from her parents/siblings, but she doesn't like asking her family for money, and I don't want to force her to do something that makes her feel uncomfortable. Macie's 8 years in school caused her some student debt. While most of it is paid off, there still is some left. If we get married, her debt will become mine. If she goes back to school, she will add to that debt with her new student debt. I don't think it would be a good idea to have children while Macie's career is still unstable. We would already be stretched for money, and adding a child to the mix would push us further into debt. Lastly, I think planning a wedding while going to school would just cause Macie unnecessary stress. She wants a big wedding, so eloping is not an option. I don't know how to tell her this when she asks, when will we get married? I'm afraid that, if I tell her these things, she'll stay with teaching, which she seems to dislike and ultimately resent me for forcing her to stay in a job she hates. If she was willing to stay in teaching long term, I would pop the question this year. But I simply can't while she's still figuring things out. What would be the best way to explain to her that I would like to marry her, but only after she finds a career she likes and stays there long term? I want to marry her too, but would prefer to do it once she gets her career figured out. What is the best way of tell her this without it sounding like an ultimatum? The year of teaching and our 4th year anniversary is this year. Edits too, since there's a lot of messages. Reading them has been quite the adventure. There are some things I would like to clear up. Macie and I've only been together 3 going on to 4 years. She's been in and out of school for the last 11 years and had a couple of exes before me. Macie's main beef with teaching was a dick of a principal in year 1 and having to teach in the pandemic for last year and this year. I think that teaching might be her calling, since the 3 main gripes she had about the job are gripes anybody would have, and this is the longest job that she's ever had. I still want to marry her. I would just like her to have a career going so everything's stable. I do not hate that she wants to find a job that she likes before settling down. In fact, I have encouraged her to find a job that she loves and doesn't dread going to day in and day out. I have even talked to her to see what kind of jobs she would enjoy and helped her look into colleges that have the programs she wants and get her all the necessary info, edit-free. I gave it a little more thought, and I think her wanting to quit is due to the frustration of having to teaching during a pandemic, which is perfectly reasonable. We're going to see each other this weekend, so I'll ask Macie if her wanting to quit teaching is due to the highly stressful situation. I want to ask that if there was no pandemic, or if her first boss wasn't a jerk, or if the school offers her a permanent position, would she still want to be a teacher? If the answer is a yes, then I don't really need to tell her my fear of instability and start picking out a ring. She's a teacher and a nurse. There are lots of non-traditional jobs she could do in either of these fields that I wouldn't require going back to school a third time. If she has enough time to get another degree, she has enough time to figure out a better solution. This is a pretty reasonable boundary to have. I know a couple of people who have done this kind of perpetual job, cycling, and it would personally give me so much anxiety as a part. Part of Yorka's problem might be that both of her job choices were notoriously intensive and stressful career paths, especially with COVID. I think there has been a high turnover rate for teachers this year who are either burning out from remote teaching workloads or leaving careers due to workplace safety issues. So that is pretty understandable if disappointing. You couldn't have foreseen this issue when she embarked on her teaching career. That said, I think she would be best served by seeking out a career coach or counsellor who can help her figure out the best ways to leverage her skills into a fulfilling career, and to realistic expectations about what that career will look like. Even people who love their jobs have stressful, frustrating, or boring days sometimes. Did she ever get to job shadow any nurses or teachers before she got into those degree programs? Were they realistic about the stresses of those jobs? With at least 1-2 bachelor's degrees, I would think there are a lot of opportunities she can pivot into that lane with her interests. Given that so far she's pursued teaching and nursing, she seems to love jobs that involve serving and helping others. With the help of a career counsellor, she could explore some options in adjacent fields that might be a better fit. If she wants to get married, she needs to start thinking about your future as a couple and how her choices will impact you both. And the two of you should feel comfortable discussing finances as a couple, especially if you plan to pool resources. Rather than posing this issue as "I don't want you to put us in more debt," frame it as "let's prioritize what we want to spend our limited resources on, and if a wedding is at the top of the list, find other ways besides another university degree to leverage your skills into a better career for you." I am wondering if you could somehow strategically ask a question about career-specific job. Overall, I like a lot of aspects of my career, but haven't always liked the specific job. Some jobs have had a lot of personality issues, or a bad manager, or whatever else is the case. But I switched to a different job or practice setting within my career field, and I am much happier. Teaching may feel burdensome right now, but would it help to teach a different subject or at a different school nearby? Might she find work with sufficient pay as a private tutor, school administrator, or something related that uses some of her existing skills and doesn't require a new degree?